Hey everyone, in this video we'll be discussing the AUTO-VOX wireless camera that I use as my front-facing camera when I'm off-road to see what's in front of me. It's magnetic, pops on very quickly, hits my steel bumper. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am Robert with Sherburne Outdoors, and today we're discussing how I off-road with no front-facing camera. So when I first bought my Jeep Gladiator Mojave, there was no surplus out there. They were hard to get. I took what I had. I did buy a fully loaded one, but it didn't have a front-facing camera. It's got a rear camera, a backup camera, which is great, but you can either get the black grill on these or the front-facing camera. In retrospect, I really wish it would have came with a front-facing camera. But recently, AUTO-VOX reached out to me and asked me if I would test out their wireless magnetic camera that's used primarily for backup, but I put it on the front here and it works fabulous. So full disclosure, AUTO-VOX did send this to me. I did not buy this to test out, but I'll give you an honest review. This thing is great. It's weather resistant, it's magnetic, and it's very strong. It goes up to 50 feet, costs about $169.99 on Amazon. There'll be a link in the bottom. There's usually a $50 coupon you can click on Amazon to get it even cheaper than that. But again, it's magnetic. We'll get into what comes in it in a second, but it comes with a 5-inch wireless camera that you can plug into your cigarette lighter. No drilling. This is like a 2-minute setup. I was so happy with how quickly this thing set up. This battery will go 15 hours continuous, but you don't need it continuous. You only need it when you need it. So you can get pretty long trips out of this without having to worry about it. One of the negatives is it doesn't use USB. It uses the old type of system, kind of that D-looking thing to plug in. What can I say? I prefer the USB-Cs. It again has a 50-foot range, so if you've got a large trailer, it'll get into it. Their system can have 2 cameras, so you can actually put 2 cameras with this. So this came in some pretty nice packaging. It's nice. It's almost similar to like an Apple product. Came with the magnetic unit that we talked about before, so this is your camera. It does have an antenna here. This one's normally on the other piece, but because I am having this on the front, I decided to put this longer antenna on the display. So that's our camera. And then we have our actually 5-inch display. So this plugs into a 12-volt adapter if you have to use a power station, or in this case for our test today, we're going to just plug this into my car cigarette lighter. This thing works great. This synced up automatically when I tested this at home. There was absolutely nothing I had to do. If you don't have something magnetic to attach the camera to, they do have this mounting adapter that you can screw in. So if you have an RV or some kind of box trailer that you built that has maybe a fiberglass shell. If you have a very long application, very long trailer, it does have an additional antenna you can put on here and kind of squeeze it out a little bit further. So that's kind of nice. And then it's got this adapter for your mount. Now, this is okay. It's sticky. I actually put it to the window and it did work, but it's more or less meant to be stuck on there. So I'm not sure about that. It just connects in to the back of the unit right here and pushes up. And it's got a little bit of documentation here. Nothing real major. But that's kind of it. The display on here is color, but at night it's infrared. So this has multiple applications. This could be used as security. I'm actually going to do a whole separate video on this, on camp security. This is something I've always wanted to do. If you look around here, I'm in the middle of nowhere, and if I wanted to be in my rooftop tent and not have to get out, what could I actually use this as camp security? I don't know. I'm going to test it out. That's another application. But with that said, let's take all this stuff up. Let's hook it up and let's go out driving on some trails, some water crossings, and see how this works. Now, first thing we need to do is put the unit, and it does have a power button here and a USB input button, and then it's got our magnetic plate at the bottom. Now, I did upgrade the bumper on here. This did come with a plastic one from the factory. I put a Rubicon bumper on here, and it just pops right over here. We'll put it right over the winch plate. Actually, let's center it up right there. So it's very strong too, and you can adjust it. They say this is some kind of ultra slick on the front to where raindrops and stuff will roll right off, like Rain-X kind of. Let's put that right there. So that's step 1. Step 2 is we're going to hook up the display inside. All right, moment of truth. We've got our unit hooked up here. We've got the power turned on the front for the camera. Let's just take our USB, or I'm sorry, our 12-volt DC, plug it into our cigarette adapter, and see what happens. All right, we've got power. It's syncing up on channel 1, and we have our display. And looks the same out there. All right, couple display notes here. There's some things that I can do with this. It's got some battery information up in the upper right hand corner. This lets me know what the battery is of the camera on front. I can hit this middle button here and it gives me some information where I can pair another one. I can control what the outside looks like. I can, if I scroll over to this, I can actually display, is it normal? Is it upside down? I can move things around, and we'll just say it's normal. And then if I choose anything else, you know, we can put guidelines on here if I'm having it on a reverse camera. And then I also can put, you know, if I want it to display, how long I want it to display. 240 seconds by default, 120 seconds, and then never if I just want it up all the time. Well, I tell you what, let's start rolling and see what this thing does. So this is where I usually have a problem, is I'm up at our obstacle here, I'm looking at it, and I can't see over the hood. This is perfect. Brings me right up so we see everything. So now I'm at the front. We're at our obstacle here, and there's a bunch of rocks and stuff sticking out as we go through the creek. I can see everything here. So you can see I'm on 35s with a 2-inch lift with an additional lift from the factory, and it lifts my car up quite a bit. So when we come up on this hill right here, it's going to give us, you know, an incline, and I'm not sure where these rocks are that we're about to run into. Now this gives me an extra wide view off the front, and I can see immediately coming up there, oh, this is great. I can see what we're about to approach and what we're hitting and where we're coming into. There is a slight lag with this, and I may have to tweak that a little bit. Let's whip this around and go back through that obstacle. And as we start coming down, there's some tricky rocks that we have to go around. So we're coming up to our creek again. It's giving me a whole visibility. If we look out our window here, we can see the edge of our dash is showing that tree, but it's so high I can't see it all. But if I look here on the camera, you can see we've got a lot of room here between that and it. As we start to come into this, now I can see how as I'm coming down, where these rocks are at. I can feel them as we're moving into it, make sure we're not going to hit anything. Oh, and this is great. Now as we come into the water, we can see it, and now it lets me know when I'm hitting it and as we're crossing it, and this is perfect. This is going to work great. All right, I'm going to switch this antenna with the one on the unit, which is much smaller, and see if this thing raised up will give us a little less lagginess. I tested this in my garage and there was no lagginess. Now, this antenna to the right side actually made a huge difference. Look at that response time. Getting ready to go into this little gully right here. It's just popping right up. Now I can see it. We can see we're about to go down into it, and I can really see it here on our display. And we've gotten rid of the real lagginess. I actually put the angle down a little bit further so I could actually see a little bit more of the ground and a little less forward, because I can already see forward. But the lagginess was bothering me. This is perfect. Changing that antenna out has really changed everything out. Let's do a quick mud test. I've been flying through mud holes. Let's fly through one. Watch you come up here, and this actually slick surface does drain the water off pretty quickly. There's a good mud hole. Pops up on that, went through. Yeah, it actually cleared off really well. Wow, this thing is great. Let's hit some quick bumps and see if this thing jiggles around at all on the front bumper and see where we're at. Stuff coming up here, and we're hitting it right here. And I mean, this thing is very stable. Trucks jumping around. This magnet holds extremely well. This display, although I got to figure out how we're going to mount all this. I love it here, maybe on a bullet system. I don't like it just hanging off the window like this and everything, so I have to clean this up. But this is, I am really happy with this. Well, we are doing roughly 55 or 60 miles an hour and have been for some time. This thing is just hanging out here without any issues at all. Hasn't moved at all, still displaying great data. Whew, it is super windy out here. Well, I will tell you what, this AUTO-VOX magnetic wireless camera with the 5-inch display works awesome. You can see we're muddy. We've been through mud holes. We've been on roads. We've been bouncing all around. This thing has never moved. The only thing we did do is we did move the antenna from this one, which originally came on, and I swapped them out. I was getting lagginess. I think this needs to be higher, solidify this line of sight a little bit. But this thing is great. Again, this is $169.99. Here's a link below for Amazon, and usually they have a $50 coupon or some kind of coupon promotion. Today is the 24th of February, and there was a $50 coupon there this morning. Hey, if you liked what you saw, please hit that like button. Don't forget to hit subscribe and click that bell to be notified when we got new content out. Again, I am Robert from Sherburne Outdoors. Thank you for your time. Everybody have a great day.